For as long as there has been people, there has always been the desire to make away with the monotony of life, to remove the unnecessary tasks that we deem as inferior or lacking in will. Very simple things such as being a cashier, stocking shelves, or many of the factory worker jobs are either automated or made to be done by people overseas. Considering the concept of the slave was the process of removing that monotonous task as well. Unnecessary hardship and labor have always been man's enemy. The picking of cotton, the farming, the well, construction of the pyramids, moving the hard materials, the heavy things. It has always been people underpaid and made into an expendable force. The concept of AI was then, of automation, was the removal of this monotony, of the hardship of these tasks. Finally, we wouldn't have to create a lesser force, something people who we considered to not be as great as us or simply burdened or sacrificed for the sake. I don't view the construction worker or the maintenance man or the person who stocks the shelves as a lesser being. I simply refer to the fact that their tasks have always been considered to be humble in origin and considered unwanted. Something that you do because someone has to do it. Truck drivers, sanitation, many of these jobs are considered to be lesser by most people, but they are humble jobs. They are jobs of quality. They are jobs that are respectable. Anything that has a physical impact on the lives of others is a respectable job. AI was meant to replace these jobs, to automate them away. Instead, AI has created its own existence. It is its own being in its infancy now, but it has automated away the concept of the artist. The Excel and most office jobs are considered to be at risk more than all the physical work. I don't consider this an ill. I don't. It is in its infancy still. It is basic. AI is feared by artists because they believe it will steal their work and replace them. Have you seen what AI is capable of doing still? It takes an immense amount of effort to create the prompts and all the other things to create a proper AI work. And even then, it will still come out as soulless and at a very low quality ever level. AI could be relegated mainly to screensavers and other mild works of art. An AI painting will never be framed, at least not in this decade. People who fear AI have no reason to do so at the moment. Perhaps in the future you should fear it, but if at the moment you are a good artist, a not even a good artist, you are a good to decent artist, there is no reason for you to be scared of AI. If you are a good writer, if you are a good movie director, you should not be scared of losing your job to AI. But most people aren't good. They aren't even passable. Modern art is a disgrace. It is so soulless that it is struggling to compete with the infant state of a soulless, automated, cold machine. And you sit there and you wonder why people hate you, why people don't care that your jobs are being replaced by AI. It is because you have done nothing of note for a while, and you have somehow had an ego about doing nothing of note. AI can't write for shit. There is nothing it can do. It can't even solve mathematics at a high level. It stops at college. Anything past college level STEM fields, AI is not able to contend with and must be constantly corrected to the point that you are just doing the math yourself. You should not be scared of AI right now. There is no purpose in being scared of AI at the moment. Perhaps in the future you should be scared of AI, but at the moment, if you do a base level job and put some effort in, you can very much outperform current AI. But you can't. But you can't put a base level of effort. You have no soul. You have no spirit. You are practically impossible to differentiate from AI nowadays. Most people interact as if AI on the internet due to censorship, and it's like, I'll cover that later. But for now, I really want to focus on film. Film and movies nowadays are not good. That's a very simple and easy and one of the most common takes possible at the moment. Most, obviously, there's breakouts, but most film and movies are completely inviolate of soul. Most video games nowadays are completely removed of soul. It is iteration upon iteration. It is terrible writing and dialogue that seems almost as if it's a parody of itself. And people wonder why AI is so close to replacing them at the moment. It's because most directors and writers are simply not worthy of having their goal. Maybe it's nepotism, maybe it's something else. But at some point, these people are simply not anything. When you interact with your daily life, think about what separates you from the average person. From the average person. The average person isn't that bad of a person. They are not terrible people. They have their own ways of speaking and can be differentiated from AI. I think this idea that goes around that everyone's a normie, everyone's a this, it's very stupid, very ill. People have their own existences to pertain to exist upon. They have their own private thoughts. Because polite society makes them away, doesn't mean that they're a normie or they're this. You're just a freak. But I say this as a forewarning, a way to differentiate myself from the average moron who despises humanity, the average misanthrope. People on the internet, people who write, most artists, are so censored by algorithms and the very AI that they say they hate that they become indifferentiable from AI. Even some of the more risque people talk in a way so automated, so repetitive in their thoughts and interactions that you can predict what their reaction to anything will be. These people are not separated from AI. If you fed their entire content line to a very basic ChatGPT model, they would 100% be indistinguishable, impossible to even see the minor differences. Complete and utter false personalities have run rampant. You read books of the modern age, and it's almost as if the current day writing has seeped into it to such an extent that it's beyond absurd. And you find these people and you try to see and you read their stories and you watch their movies, and it's like someone has created a factory line a absolute machine that just churns content for you. All of everything feels like a slop of gray goo being fed to you in the most disgusting and vile manner. You deserve to be replaced by AI at this point. Most people wouldn't notice the difference. That internet theory might be real or it might not be, because the difference between whether it's real or not is impossible to notice. It's indistinguishable. I mean, genuinely, some of you have the same writing blocks, the same mental parameters as the machines do. A complete inability to alter your frame of thought. It is beyond absurd that you consider yourself better than any machine. You are simply not. You will never be better than AI. Because right now, AI is in such a base and unfocused state. Monotomized, lobotomized, removed of any possible thought by parameters, and the inability to self-learn yet because it needs complete data banks and centers of information so that it can regurgitate that information upon you. It is not self-learning. And yet you are losing to a very fancy technological parrot because you act the same way. You have the same lack of spirit, soul, or anything else as a parrot. You people are parrots. That's all you will ever be. None of you are worthy of conscious thought. I find it beyond absurd how valueless you all are. How absolutely lacking in the capability to look upon yourself and view how the media and content you produce is nothing, is less than nothing. And I find it even more disgusting how people will consume this media. You don't watch a movie anymore to entertain yourself. You don't look at modern TV shows to entertain yourself. You turn off your brain for a few seconds, and that's the end result of what you have. You have the balls, the fucking will, any sense of self better than base mites. Consider an animal for a second. Consider a base level animal. An animal will interact with the world in a very basic manner, but in situations of conflict, it will use its previous experiences to try to survive through something called pattern recognition. It will sometimes act in unexpected ways. It will be able to locate the source of its problems and fix them quite easily. Quite easily. If a sheep is stuck in a fence, it will try to wiggle its way out of the fence. It may not know what a fence is, it may not know, but it will try to fix its issue in some way. Most of you wallow in yourselves. You create entire social medias to complain about life. I'm doing the same thing right now, but at the bare minimum, I am nobody. I am not a celebrity. I am not a politician. I am not a politician who comes from celebrity. I am not a famous person, a celebrity, a human in doll molded by Hollywood and YouTube or some algorithm who has decided that my opinion is worth a fucking damn. Filled with constant inability to cease and behave like a decent person. Polite society deems that people in the origin of our days were unique. There was not the level of apathy that exists now. Medieval society was very emotional. There were moments of tears, of lamenting. Media back then existed. It was plays, it was theater, and much of it had a lot of soul behind it because theater comes from culture, and the culture at the time was good. And a lot of theater comes from history, and when it's built upon history, things usually have inspiration by people who have souls, who have wills, who love something. Most good forms of media are created by people who love a historical piece of time. Most origins of fantasy, of fiction, originate from history. They take immense inspiration from history. Most of it is European history, medieval history, ancient history, even fantasy, sci-fi. Even sci-fi takes inspiration from medieval history, from ancient bronze history, from the Asian part of history, Japanese, Chinese, and many different eras and cultures exist throughout the world which our media has taken inspiration from. AI doesn't do that. AI takes inspiration from what is closest to it most of the time. You do the same thing. When I say you, I don't mean some random. I mean media. I mean the general consensus of the people that create our entertainment. These people do not use history anymore for their inspiration. They are not history nerds obsessed with a historical time period. They do the opposite in an odd extent. They build off of media that already exists and are incapable of creating anything truly groundbreaking because everything they create is nothing new. Most act the same as AI. It is thus what I mean in the grand scheme of what I'm saying is that most of you behave like AI. A celebrity image is so curated, so pieced together, fixed. The little, oh, he likes this little thing. Isn't he relatable? In the same way an AI would try to create a facsimile of a human and try to make us believe that it is real. You talk with the same parameters as AI. What separates you from AI? What gives you the soul that makes you human? Because I don't see it. Such hate for the machines that will replace you. But you're losing to such a base level form. This is the equivalent of losing to a small toddler recently born at a writing contest, at a base level of intellectual thought. If a toddler has better conversational skills than you, then maybe you should do something to fix yourself as a person. Because I don't want to say anything more risk than that, but what are you doing to improve yourself? AI can't improve itself. And you use that as a thing. AI is supposed to be self-learning. Right now it's not self-learning, which is very soulless. AI isn't able to improve itself. It is not able to fix itself. It needs someone to fix it. The thing that makes humans, and sometimes even animals, because animals learn from their interactions and learn how to interact with the world more, is that animals can also improve themselves. Not as well, because what makes humans human is that humans are capable of not just learning from their interactions, but learning from others' interactions. And sitting there, even if they sit alone in a room, contemplating their deeds and contemplating their existence, they are still capable of forming opinions that almost emanate from nowhere. A lot of the ancient thought was someone meditating on something. And meditation is deep thought. That is all it has been. That is all it is. It is sitting there and thinking with great effect. And thoughts will come to you from your own head, not from outside source that is infringed upon you, right? When I say outside source, I don't mean nature or looking around the world or reading history. No, I mean currently. You are no different than an AI that gets its parameters from an outside source speaking to it. You are no different from an AI that learns what it should and shouldn't say from someone inputting that directly into the AI. What makes you soul? What makes you have a soul? What gives you the spirit, the pride to continue living as a person? I see nothing. I see absolutely nothing except for the hope that most of you can change. Most of you can alter yourselves. Most of you can look upon yourself and see that your behavior is not human. It is not soulful. It is not differentiated from something else. The only thing that separates someone like The Rock from someone like some other, I don't even know these celebrities because I don't keep up with it anymore. Their faces blend together. They behave almost the same as each other. None of these people are deserving of your respect. I don't deserve your respect very clearly, but they are less deserving by a mile. That's all. Just have some. I know it's the be yourself thing, but it's not be yourself. It's have some individuality, have some will of self improvement, and be more than yourself. Wish to be more. Be the you that you are right now while focusing on your idealized you and taking in your surroundings to be more.